In the start of the movie, we see an old man from Britain named Kai getting on a plane to Bangkok, Thailand. It is revealed that Kai used to be in the British Army who never failed to carry out his missions. His goal in coming to Bangkok is to seek revenge because 1 month ago Kai's family was killed while on vacation in Bangkok. However, the Bangkok police never wanted to arrest the culprit, so he decides to punish the culprit himself. When Kai gets to Thailand, he quickly gets a motorcycle taxi and tells the driver to take him to a restaurant in downtown Bangkok. Shortly after that, Kai arrived at the intended restaurant and quickly went to the bathroom. Inside, he had arranged for someone to leave a black bag with money, a phone, and weapons, which were important for his plan of revenge. With only that night to work with, Kai wasted no time and quickly ordered an online taxi to take him to his first target. Not long after, Kai was picked up by the online taxi he had asked for. The driver, a woman named Fa, greeted him, and they soon started their journey to Kai's destination. Along the way, Kai praised Fa, saying how rare it was to find such a beautiful woman as a taxi driver. Fa replied, saying she loved her job and enjoying meeting new people. Additionally, she had to working hard to pay for her brother's cancer treatment. After hearing about Fa's brother being sick, Kai expressed his sympathy and said he hoped her brother would get better soon. When they arrived at his destination, Kai asked Fa how much she usually made in a day as a driver. Fa said she usually made about 6 a day. Seeing a chance, Kai made a deal with Fa. If she went with him to 4 more places after their current stop, he would give her 6,000, but she had to turn off her online taxi app. After that, Kai gave Fa 1,000 as a first payment, promising to give her the rest when they finished their errands. Knowing that she needed the money, Fa agreed to Kai's offer. After making the deal with Fa, Kai got out of the taxi to deal with his first target. Meanwhile, Fa was told to stay in the car and wait for Kai to come back. At the first place, his goal was to deal with a female lawyer who would help the person responsible for his family's tragedy. At that moment, Kai pretended to need legal help until he was taken to the lawyer's private room. Once inside, he quickly killed the lawyer with a gunshot. After finishing the job, Kai left the place casually, avoiding suspicion from the guards downstairs. When he got back to Fa's taxi, Kai told her to go to the next place. During the ride, Fa asked where they were going. Kai said he wanted to go to the police housing complex in the city center. Confused, Fa asked if Kai was in trouble. But Kai reassured her by saying that he just had some business to take care of with a policeman who lived there. Shortly after, Kai arrived at the second place, the police housing complex where the targeted policeman lived. As usual, Kai asked Fa to wait for him while he did his job. On the other hand, the policeman was relaxing at home. After that, there was a knock on his door. As the policeman was about to open it, Kai attacked him suddenly and violently. With just a few hits, Kai managed to knock out the corrupt officer, who had been paid off by the person responsible for Kai's family's death. Without wasting time, Kai quickly got rid of the policeman. After that, he hurried back to Fa's taxi to continue to the third place. During the journey, Fa suddenly noticed that Kai had sustained a head injury from his encounter with the policeman. Acting swiftly, she stopped her car and tended to Kai's wound. Concerned, Fa inquired about the cause of the injury, but Kai declined to discuss it, explaining it to hitting a wall. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, a police detective named Sarawat was investigating the crime scene where the lawyer had been killed, previously eliminated by Kai. Engaged in a phone call with his wife, Shai, who was currently on maternity leave but still aiding Sarawat in his investigation by reviewing CCTV footage from the building. Through her efforts, Shai managed to identify Kai. However, neither Sarawat nor Shai had yet uncovered the motive behind the series of violent incidents. Meanwhile, Kai and Fa stopped at a roadside stall to eat. Here, Fa ordered traditional food for Kai, thinking all tourists would like it. While they waited for their meal, Fa asked why Kai had given her so much money. At that moment, Kai explained that it was an extra payment for her kindness. He also promised to give her another 1,000 when he finished his business. Happy about this unexpected generosity, Fa smiled happily, since it was the most money she had ever gotten. After that, she kept asking about Kai's business, which made him do it alone. In the end, Kai disclosed that his family had gone to Bangkok for vacation a month ago, but he didn't go with them. Sadly, his whole family died in a car crash caused by a local drunk driver named Korn. Even though it was a serious accident, Korn didn't face any punishment because he was the son of an important person named Davies Korn. So, Kai decided to take matters into his own hands and seek justice against everyone involved in the tragedy. After learning about Kai's tragic past, Fa felt sorry and apologized for asking questions earlier. Surprisingly, Fa suddenly cried as she shared that she also went through a similar experience a month ago. 3 of her passengers died because of a drunk driver. Despite her pain, Fa couldn't do anything because the authorities closed the case quickly. Shortly after, they continued their journey, where Kai told Fa to take him to a nightclub at the end of the street because its owner was the same person, Korn, who caused the accident that killed Kai's family. When they arrived at the nightclub, Kai told Fa she could take a break and walk around since their job might take a while. Eventually, Fa left, leaving Kai to go into the nightclub by himself. When Kai was inside, he managed to find Korn, who turned out to be a young man and was with his friends. Kai watched Korn closely and noticed when he went to the restroom, probably to be with one of the dancers there. While Korn was busy, a guard stood outside the restroom. Taking advantage of the moment, Kai pretended to wash his hands before attacking Korn's guard suddenly. Kai quickly took down the guard and entered the restroom where Korn was. Pointing his weapon at Korn, Kai asked if he remembered the family he had killed in the accident. Shaking with fear, Korn begged for forgiveness, saying it was just an accident. Without hesitation, Kai shot at Korn several times. But he intentionally didn't aim to kill him because he planned to take Korn to the hospital. After that, Kai quickly left the scene, glad to see Fa waiting outside the nightclub. At the same time, Sarawat and his colleague, Dom, had just reached the house of the corrupt policeman whom Kai had killed earlier. Sarawat strongly suspected that Kai was the one behind it. However, the reason for the killings was still unclear. At the same time, Dom got a report about another shooting incident at the nightclub at the end of the street. Luckily, the owner survived and was on the way to the hospital. Witnesses said the shooter was a foreign tourist, so Sarawat guessed it was probably Kai. Without wasting time, they went to look for Kai. On the other hand, Kai and Fa still on the way. Kai then asked Fa to take him to the hospital because his next target was there. Shortly after, Kai asked about a cross necklace hanging in Fa's car. At that moment, Fa said that the necklace wasn't hers, but belonged to one of her passengers who died in an accident a month ago. In that accident, Fa was the only one who survived, while none of her passengers survived. Upon hearing Fa's story, Kai suddenly realized that the passengers she mentioned were actually his own family, and the cross necklace in the car belonged to his daughter. Shocked and overwhelmed with emotion, Fa could only apologize tearfully. She explained that during the accident, she was driving slowly in the right lane. However, the crash happened because of a drunk driver who was distracted by his phone, causing the tragic accident involving Fa's taxi. Listening to Fa's explanations, Kai believed that she was innocent of any fault. He thought that maybe their meeting was arranged by God, bringing them together in their quest for justice. Not long after, they arrived at the hospital, where Kai told Fa to wait discreetly at the end of the street to avoid being noticed. Inside the hospital, Korn's parents argued angrily, each blaming the other for their son's condition. It was revealed that Korn's parents had used bribery to get their son out of trouble in the case involving the accident with Kai's family. Shortly after, Korn's parents were seen crying as their son remained in a coma. Suddenly, Kai showed up, holding one of Mr. Davies Korn's guards hostage, who had been outside. It was clear that Kai had spared Korn's life at the nightclub on purpose to confront Korn's parents. Without hesitating, Kai quickly dealt with Mrs. Davies as she tried to resist. Upon seeing this, Mr. Davies Korn seemed scared as he asked what they had done wrong. Kai accused Mr. Davies Korn of hiding his son's crime, which was the murder of Kai's whole family. That's why Kai had come to punish them himself. Then, Kai quickly got rid of Mr. Davies Korn himself, and the guard. Meanwhile, Sarawat was already at the hospital, talking to his wife on the phone. At that moment, Shai had just figured out Kai's motive for the massacre, which was because Korn, Mr. Davies Korn's son, was responsible for killing Kai's family. But Korn didn't get punished because his father bribed the police. So now, Kai wanted revenge against everyone involved. At the same time, Kai met with Sarawat, where Kai quickly held a nurse hostage. Trying to calm things down, Sarawat told Kai that he understood his motive. He said Kai was a good person who felt he had to do extreme things to get justice. Sarawat then begged Kai to stop seeking revenge, saying justice had been served. But Kai said there was still one more person he needed to deal with, which was the judge who let Korn go after taking a bribe. After that, Kai went to the parking lot with the nurse still with him. Sarawat followed Kai, and they argued. Sarawat then asked Kai to let the nurse go and promised to stop chasing him. But Kai, not trusting Sarawat, insisted on keeping the nurse until Sarawat backed off. At the same time, Dom shot from far away, starting a gunfight between them. Sadly, the nurse got caught in the middle, and Dom managed to stop Kai. After that, Kai quickly left, while wounded in the abdomen. Meanwhile, Sarawat stopped chasing Kai and focused on Dom and the hurt nurse. Shortly after, Fa contacted Kai to ask where he was, and informed him that she had been waiting outside the hospital. Upon hearing this, Kai quickly told her where he was and said sorry for being late, mentioning a small problem. Not long after, Fa came to pick up Kai, and they left quickly. While they were driving, Fa saw Kai's wounds and decided to take him somewhere safe for medical help. Meanwhile, Sarawat was lost in thought at the hospital, thinking about what happened with Dom and the nurse. Shortly after, his wife Shai came to comfort him. She told Sarawat not to chase Kai anymore, saying Kai wasn't a bad person. She reminded Sarawat that Kai was a retired British military veteran with no criminal record. It turns out, Shai silently agreed with Kai's actions, showing she agreed without saying anything. Upon knowing this, Sarawat didn't respond and staying quiet. Meanwhile, Fa helped Kai with his wound, stitching up his stomach injury skillfully because of her medical training. After the treatment, Kai said he was going to confront the last person on his list, who is a judge. At the same time, Fa took Kai near the judge's house, and after that, she didn't need to drive him anymore. Kai then paid Fa what he owed her, even giving her all the money he had. It was clear that Kai knew the judge named Priya, his last target. Priya was powerful and wealthy, and wouldn't be easy to deal with. However, Kai stayed determined, putting his desire for revenge above everything else. Even though Fa tried to convince him otherwise and suggested he stop, Kai kept going, making Fa reluctantly go with him. Not long after, Kai arrived at Priya's house. Before he got out of the car, he promised Fa that if he survived, he would take her and her younger brother to England to live with him. Without waiting, Kai went into Priya's house, where he found many guards. But Kai wasn't scared and quickly attacked them. At the same time, Fa chose to stay there, waiting for Kai to come back. Returning to Kai, who had beaten all of Priya's guards, he then called for Priya and challenged him to a fight. Shortly after, Priya showed up, appearing quite young. At that moment, Priya praised Kai for defeating his guards. But just as Kai was ready to attack, Priya surprised him by shooting at him and suggesting they fight without weapons instead. Luckily, Kai managed to get up and started fighting fiercely. Unfortunately, Kai was already tired from earlier fights, and he couldn't resist much against Priya's punches. Unexpectedly, Fa showed up to save Kai. But Priya pointed his gun at both of them and told Kai he had to choose who Priya would shoot first, Fa or Kai. Even though Kai begged and surrendered, Priya insisted on shooting Fa. Shortly after, Sarawat arrived and shot Priya, saving them. Sarawat had apparently listening to his wife's words and now sided with Kai. He quickly told Fa to take Kai to safety before more police arrived. Sarawat also promised to change Thailand's legal system to prevent similar tragedies from happening to Kai's family again. Several months later, Kai, Fa, and her brother were seen enjoying time at the beach. They were now living happily, and Fa had become Kai's wife officially. Moral lesson from the story: when seeking revenge, make sure you've got a solid plan, because even a simple trip to the bathroom can turn into a wild adventure. And remember, forgiveness is easier on the wallet, because revenge can be a real budget buster.